A national library is a wondrous institution. It is the custodian and provider of a nation's key knowledge resources. A national library collects and preserves published documents. It ensures that knowledge is not lost to posterity and makes all this information easily accessible to all. Throughout the world, the National Library of a country is held in high esteem by its citizens. A national library has an exceptional symbolic presence, which represents a nation's published documentary heritage, regarded as a resource for researchers, writers, students, and the public. And so it is with the National Library of South Africa, which strives to be a leading national library and centre of excellence in Africa and the world. Before we look at the current state of the library, let's backtrack to the beginning. Until 1999, South Africa had two national libraries, one in Cape Town and one in Pretoria. The South African Library in Cape Town, in this beautiful old building, adjacent to Parliament in the Compagnie Gardens, was the first library established in the country. It dates back to 1818 when Lord Charles Somerset, Governor of the Cape Colony, issued a proclamation launching the South African Public Library. Somerset stipulated that a wine tax should be levied to place the means of knowledge within the reach of the youth of this remote corner of the globe and bring within their reach what the most eloquent ancient writers considered to be one of the first blessings of life, home education. The second national library was the State Library in Pretoria, constituted in 1887 during the time of the Suid-Afrikaanse Republiek by the Transvaal government as a state institution, and former State President Paul Kruger appointed the State Librarian. This library came into being thanks to a donation of books from the Dutch Society of Literature, a complete library of Dutch works, mainly Dutch literature and language, presented to the Transvaal Republic's government. In terms of South African legal deposit legislation, each of the national libraries became a legal deposit library, which means that every publisher in the country was required to provide these institutions with a gratis copy of every book, serial, newspaper, government publication or other printed item published in South Africa or relating to South Africa. In some form or another, this country's legal deposit system dates back to 1842, and as a result, extensive collections of material of great scholarly value have been built up in the former national libraries. One of the National Library's most important tasks is to safeguard the national documentary heritage materials. These collections, found on both campuses, contain rare manuscripts, such as the letters of John X. Merriman, and anonymous koi drawings dating back to 1700. Books, such as this copy of Dante's Inferno. Popular and scientific periodicals, such as the very first issue of Drum magazine, dating from 1951, and government publications, foreign official publications, and atlases and maps. The library's first significant acquisition was the collection of Joachim Nicolaas van Dessen, a discerning collector who bequeathed his books to the Dutch Reformed Church in 1761 to serve as the foundation of a public library. Other notable donations followed over the years. Amongst others, Sir George Grey presented the library with his remarkable personal collection of medieval and Renaissance manuscripts and rare books, when he left South Africa in 1861. This collection includes many valuable items, among them the first and second Shakespeare folios. The National Library also has an impressive collection of photo albums, photographs and prints, of which the earliest items date back to the 1850s. It holds an excellent collection of Africana, which comprises material on Africa south of the Sahara. This Nama Bible is but one example of this collection, which is particularly rich in older publications reflecting the beginnings and growth of this country. A page from the Ritter's Almanac, published in 1796, is the earliest surviving printed document in South Africa. The special collection also includes very old newspapers, such as two Xhosa newspapers from 1845 and the Argus dating back to 1800. During the 1990s, the Department of Arts, Culture, Science and Technology began a review of all legislation under its jurisdiction, including the National Libraries Act No. 56 of 1985. In 1996, the Minister of Arts, Culture, Science and Technology appointed a working group on the National Libraries of South Africa to advise him on the future of the two national libraries. The most important recommendation of the working group was that the two national libraries be amalgamated to form a dual site, Cape Town and Pretoria National Library, to be known as the National Library of South Africa. The creation of the new National Library looks ahead to a revitalizing and transformation that will align the new institution with the goals of the new democracy. The new institution was constituted on the 1st of November 1999. On that day, the South African Library and the State Library ceased to exist as separate entities and became the National Library of South Africa, made up of 3 separate campuses: the National Library of South Africa Cape Town campus, the National Library of South Africa Pretoria campus, and the Centre for the Book in Cape Town, a specialist unit of the National Library of South Africa from which outreach programs are coordinated. The history of this centre, in short, is that during the early 90s, Piet Westra, director of the former South African Library in Cape Town, visited the Library of Congress in Washington and was so impressed by the Centre for the Book attached to the Library of Congress that such a centre, specifically designed to encourage the development of reading and books in all indigenous languages, was also created in this country. The building that presently houses the Centre for the Book is described as the finest Edwardian building in Cape Town and was built in 1906 to be the headquarters of the University of the Cape of Good Hope. The land and a considerable amount of money was donated to the university by Willem Hidding, commemorated by a bas-relief portrait bust in the entrance hall of the building. The other bust is that of Donald Curry, owner of the Castle Shipping Line, who also donated a significant amount of money. The building became the home of the Cape Archives Depot in 1932, when fire detection systems were installed and other modifications made for the storage of documents. By the time the archives moved from this building to new premises, it was in a serious state of neglect. Fortunately, this lovely building was proclaimed a national monument in 1990, and after extensive renovation and restoration, it now houses the manuscripts collection and several other valuable collections in environmentally controlled stores, as well as the National Library's conservation and book repair workshops. Here, old documents are meticulously restored and all preserved for posterity. It is time-consuming and detailed work that requires great skill and craftsmanship. The special boxes in which very valuable documents are stored are also manufactured in the Conservation and Book Repair Workshop. Since 1999, the ground floor of this building has been made available to the innovative Centre for the Book, which is the outreach program of the National Library. This centre aims to promote the value of library services to the wider nation, to promote literacy, to cultivate the reading of books, and generally to promote a culture of learning. The centre also aims to make books more accessible, more affordable, and more attractive to the majority of South Africans, particularly children and disadvantaged people from deprived rural areas and informal settlements. The Centre for the Book's guiding principle is the accessibility of books to all, and it is deservedly proud of its Isikalo First Words in Print project. And here you see some of the titles. This project aims to provide the very young with the pleasure and stimulation of picture and storybooks written, illustrated and published by South Africans in their home languages. The second important project of the Centre is the Community Publishing Project, through which the Centre helps authors to publish their own books. And here you see some of the results. The main hall acts as a showcase of recently published South African books available for browsing. The Centre for the Book also acts as the national coordinator of a poster campaign for UNESCO's World Book and Copyright Day on the 23rd of April every year. The building is meant to be a place where organizations involved with literacy, reading, publishing and allied fields can use the superb facilities for conferences, symposia, training courses and exhibitions. All revenue generated from venue hire is used to fund the activities and projects of the Centre, which also includes the development and support of public libraries. This specialist unit of the National Library has become the book development catalyst in South Africa.